Yo, what up, guys? We're on the clock. We're here with a little bit of 6 month madness. Got my buddy Julian here with me, per usual, and we got our boy Cam in the building from the Only Pod.
Yo,
Yep. We're doing a little bit of a college basketball review as we normally do once a week. Obviously, last week, if you didn't hear, I was sick, really sick, so we did not put out an episode, but we're back, and we're back with a vengeance because we're debuting a little something new, a little idea that we had. We're always doing our own thing here at On the Clock. We don't really go with any sort of general public opinion. So we said, screw listing the ESPN rankings for the top 25 teams at every time. Let's make our own damn list and let's present that every week. So we did that, huh? We did that. So we're gonna get
crispy.
Cam's reaction to our top 25 teams in the country. I'm gonna rattle them through, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we do it every week. We got Houston at 1, 8-0. UConn 2, 9-0. Purdue 3, 8-0. Number 4, I'm gonna do it like this. Number 4, Virginia, sitting at 7-0. Number 5, Kansas, 8-1. Number 6, Baylor at 6-2. Number 7, Illinois at 6-2 as well. Number 8, Arkansas at 7-1. 9, Arizona at 7-1. Indiana 10, 7-1. We have Virginia Tech, a huge climber. I'm sure even on the ESPN boards, if they are in the top 25, which I would hope they would after that dominating win over UNC. They're sitting at 11 at 8-1. We got the Utes of Utah at 7-2, sitting at 12, one of my favorite teams in the country. 13, Alabama. Brandon Miller sitting at 7-1. Creighton, even though they're a 3-loss team, sitting at 14 on our rankings. We got Kentucky at 15, 6-2, Duke 16, 8-2, 17 Texas 6-0. They've had some big wins, maybe not the quantity of wins that we want to see, but speaking of quantity of losses, our most loss, our biggest loser, you could say, on our top 25 right now is North Carolina at 18. 19, Michigan 5-3. I think that's one of the more deep teams in the country. That's probably the most slept on team, in my opinion, from the ESPN top 25, not being ranked at all or receiving votes in any way, shape, or form, which is just preposterous to me. San Diego State 6-2, sitting at 20. Iowa 21, 6-1, and then we got some undefeated teams to round it out. All these teams are kind of mid, in my opinion, but they had weak non-conference schedules for most of them, maybe one or two quality, I guess, what would they call it, like quadrant 1 or quadrant 2 wins, like the A or B scale on Ken Palm, basically. Most of these teams only have one or two. So we have Auburn at 22, 8-0, Maryland 23 at 8-0, UNLV at 24, 8-0, and my Missouri Tigers,
Go
9-0.
Tigers. Go Tigers.
Yo, Tigers. Um, So, that was our top 25. I think some of the biggest things for me that stuck out when formulating this list, some of the prominent offenses and defenses in the country. We obviously have Missouri there at 25. One of the things that are carrying them really this season is their offense, mixed with some defensive prominence. They've had the number one scoring efficiency offense in the country so far to start the year per synergy. Houston with the number 2 defense or number 1 defense. My bad. Number one defense per synergy. You got teams like Tennessee that are ranked very highly. Um, you know, and other metrics. There's a lot of teams showing a lot of dominance in certain areas, and then some others are more just kind of coasting their way along. We got UNC and Duke both off to pretty slow starts. At the end of the day, a lot of these teams are playing good teams to start the year. I'd say in recent memory, this is one of the more competitive early seasons we've had. There's a lot of games with some notoriety to it. We've seen a lot of big prospect matchups already take place. And I think that that's going to be a pattern going forward, only more once we get into conference play. The teams kind of just can condense their play even more. What are your thoughts on the top 25, Cam? Did you have anything that you blatantly disagreed with?
Blatantly, no. Because it's so early.
Yeah.
But
Was there a
teams
team that you think that we should have higher, or a team that we should be looking out for?
So some initial reactions to it would be like a team like, in my opinion, teams like San Diego State and Virginia Tech and Utah. Those three teams specifically, I think they fall out all the way out, probably the top 40. I think probably maybe top 50. San Diego State, I think, has a chance to stay in there just due to the fact that they can beat up on the Mountain West a little bit because they're just more talented than a lot of teams in the Mountain West. But as far as teams like,
have you heard of the Utah 5-man death lineup?
Tell it to me right now. Tell it to me right now.
5 white boys, 6'6" or taller. All of them can shoot 35+% from three.
I'm about to pull up Utah's.
Exactly what I'm saying, bro.
Look, I mean, they beat Arizona.
They beat Arizona. They whooped up on Arizona. They literally have just a bunch of shooters and guys that can play defense. And
they're one of the best defensive teams in the country.
I think when you're talking about great college basketball teams, Utah is everything that I want in my basketball teams. They just pass the ball, good rebounding. All guys that are like 6'5" or taller would be really cool. And I mean, it just happens to be that, that all their players are white. I think it's hilarious. They have two twin brothers, or two brothers in the front court. They're dogs. I mean, shout out to the Carlsons, Ben and Brendan. I think Brandon. I don't know. They're ballers, bro.
Brendan.
I can get behind the San Diego State thing. I'm not a big believer of them. I think with the Utah thing, they were closer. And I mean, watching Virginia Tech play against North Carolina, I don't know many teams in the country that are going to be able to score on that defense. They were pretty relentless. And I know that there's a lot of people early season that were pretty high on PT. So
Justin Mutz.
Yeah,
shout out my young boy at my high school. He just committed to Virginia Tech.
Oh, good for him, bro. That's fire.
Dang.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. But Justin Mutz was pretty wild against UNC, and could be a guy that is a stock riser. He definitely got added to our board after that. So moving out of the top 25, kind of, or I guess talking through some of the narratives in the top 25, we had Baylor getting thrashed by Marquette, and Cam Jones and Prosper and Iguodaro, three-headed monster of the Golden Eagles. But they bounced back and beat Gonzaga, which, I mean, isn't impressive by any means. We've talked about how lackluster Gonzaga is as a program.
I think
that's Gonzaga believers, man. I'm sorry.
I think you have to give them their flowers.
Some dude told me that Julian Strother is like a top 30 pick. I just don't see it. I don't see the universe anymore.
30 is that's a little. Is that his agent?
Exactly what I'm saying, bro. This dude said Andre Jackson Jr. was a top 25 pick. I was like, bro, what are you smoking, bro?
He's not operating in reality.
No, he wasn't. And he was trying to tell me that Jalen Wilson and Terrence Shannon Jr. were both second rounders. I mean, I just couldn't. I wasn't there for it. I wasn't there for the conversation.
Who in Terrence Shannon?
Jalen Wilson and Terrence Shannon, both second rounders.
That's not that far fetched.
You're not, bro. What are you talking?
I understand why you could say that, but the leaps they've taken, I think they're first rounders.
Wait, he said they were at least second rounders or not second rounders?
He said they were second rounders. Like that was their ceiling.
Oh, it's like straight up.
Yeah, he said they thought Ricky Council, Andre Jackson Jr., and Julian Strother were better than Terrence Shannon Jr. and Jalen Wilson.
I'm not gonna lie, Ricky Council.
He might be. That's what we said. He might.
He's good. He's good.
That's what we said. But
I think he's an NBA player. But
no, Wilson, I think for sure could sneak into the back end of the first round.
Yeah, I think he's a late lottery guy in my opinion. I think he's a dog.
better than Agbaji.
He is. He's
Hot
better
take.
than Ochai Abaji. bro.
I did
Hot
not like
take.
Abaji. I
He's better
I
than-
had Abaji like in the 30s, I think.
Damn, bro. Damn.
Or like the
buried.
late 20s.
You buried that man. All right.
Had him in the
I
late
understand.
20s.
Understandable. Texas holds off against Creighton. I think me and Julian talked a lot about that game, and it would have been a different story if Baylor Sharman was playing well.
Texas is kind of short though, aren't they? I'm wrong.
What?
Texas is kind of small.
Who did you say?
Texas is kind of small.
Oh, their
little
team?
bit.
Yeah. But they were able to beat Creighton, who had Kalkbrenner, and
Yeah, which is impressive. I think those guards. I think because they have wings that play defense. I think it might be able to be like a 2021 Baylor.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, they
it
just
was.
can't. They can't shoot it like that. Tyrese Hunter is gonna have to shoot it like that, and he could.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how many times teams are gonna let Tyrese Hunter, just have a day. Like,
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, I
gonna
think
be.
they're
It'll be
to
interesting
crack
to
down
see.
on it.
It'll be interesting to see when teams actually stop letting Tyrese Hunter shoot the ball.
yeah, because Hunter is electric.
Yeah, he's
electric.
fun to watch. Creighton also lost to Nebraska over the weekend, which is kind of brutal, but I wouldn't be that concerned about it. I just think the Big Ten is the best conference in college basketball. But Trace Jackson Davis, my guy, Cam loves him some
Beast.
Trace Jackson Davis. He they dogged UNC, but they lost to Rutgers, which happens. You know what I mean? Caleb McConnell had himself a game. Caleb McConnell is
Yeah.
one of our guys. Should have been a top 60 pick probably last year.
They shouldn't get mad at that. No J
They
Hood.
they shouldn't get mad at that at all. And I think that the fact that Trace Jackson Davis, like I said, has been the best big man in the country so far this year is it's interesting stuff. How Indiana
Zach
can
would
be
have
this
something to
good.
say about
Who'd
that.
who'd have thought, bro? Who would have thought?
I love when IU is good.
What?
I just love it when IU basketball is good.
Yeah, it's good when Indiana's good. It's good when Indiana's good. North Carolina didn't fare much better than Indiana after their matchup. They lost another game themselves against Virginia Tech, which I thought was one of the best games of the week in terms of how you want to see how you beat a team that's missing their best player. Literally just clamp up. That's all Virginia did. Just clamp up, force some of the guys on UNC's roster that were filling in minutes, especially in the front court and back court. The guys like Trimble. And I can't even remember the big dude that was filling in for North Carolina's name. He stunk. He's a stinker. So I hope that he doesn't have any hopes and dreams in the NBA because they will
You're
not
not referring to Nance, are you?
be. What?
You're not referring to Nance, are you?
I'm not talking about Pete Nance. I'm talking about the other guy, number 15 or something like that. Exactly.
Jalen Washington get out there?
So one of the May brothers.
No, not Wash. It was one of the May brothers for sure.
I forget which one's
One of
playing for
the
them.
May brothers got out there?
Yeah.
he
The
was
last May
playing
brothers
prominent. He was
playing.
playing prominent minutes.
Or the other May brother? That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I mean, when a May brother's in the game, it's not positive. Like I said, Utah is on fuego. They took down Arizona. Unbeaten Maryland. They beat their biggest test of the season so far, Illinois. They might have to be a team that we watch out for. Did you have any thoughts on Maryland beating Illinois, Cam? That was a big game.
No, because Hakeem Hart and Dante Scott, that's a pretty pro wing situation they got going on, and they're like anybody could lose to that. That's just conference play, for Big Ten.
Facts.
But I don't know. I
Best
think
conference
Mayor
of basketball.
play Mayor a lot. They don't really play Mayor in like a prominent role. Like Mayor's probably realizing, the grass isn't always greener.
Yeah, for real.
Because he probably thought he was gonna get over there and get the ball a whole bunch, and show some NBA scouts.
Bro, they haven't been playing Ty Rodgers at all, bro.
Yeah, I think they just don't see because he's really just the Swiss Army knife. So he's those kind of players,
And,
a coach feel like he can wait, 4 years to play those kind.
Yeah, that's what that's what I've been telling Julian is that like the coaching staff's not going to want to play him because they don't want to lose him. If they play him too many minutes, he's going to the league. Like that's the thing.
He's gonna be 9-6.
Teams would say that, bro. If he comes in and even puts up like 7, 5, and 6, some film head's gonna find him, bro. Some film head's gonna find him, and he'll be a pick.
So he was for the longest time, and it worked for him.
And then he started playing it late in the season, and it was crazy. So who
knows?
You guys say? Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah,
I don't think he's that level. I don't think he's that level, but he's a good player for sure. All right, moving into mid-major performers. Talking about Charleston, 8-1. They were the only non-Power 5 team besides San Diego State to receive, and Gonzaga obviously. But I mean, at this point, we don't really count Gonzaga when we're talking about non-Power 5 teams. But they're the only teams that were receiving votes according to ESPN. And then really wanted to highlight the Mountain West for a second because they've been turning it up. San Diego State obviously has been doing their thing. What was their big win that they had again recently? They beat
Ohio State.
No, they beat Creighton, did they not? Or somebody like that.
San Diego State. Oh, they did. You're right.
They did beat Creighton.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a good team.
No.
It's kind of weird. But it is an interesting world we live in, interesting times. So other than that, though, New Mexico has been on fire. The Lobos, as I talked about at the beginning of the season. 3 players right now scoring over 16 points per game. They got the son of he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely a multiple-time All-Star, Jamal Mashburn. And Jamal Mashburn Jr. is dogging it up over there at New Mexico. He's averaging about 17 a game. UNLV, they're 8-0 behind 14.6 points per game and a whole lot of everything else for Keshawn Gilbert, who kind of is carrying that team at the point guard, shooting guard position. And then they also have another undefeated team in Utah State. So, 3 undefeated teams remaining for the Mountain West. And, all of them had at least 1 or 2 games in there that were relatively notable wins. I wanted to highlight St. Mary's. They've been playing a lot of teams close and have one of the highest strength of schedules in the country. And they were able to get out of it at 6-3. I think that's a great sign for the Gales. I think that they'll definitely probably give, Gonzaga a run for their money. And then, I
always
believe
do.
so. They always are probably the most prominent opponent, at least when they play against Gonzaga. They're normally a senior heavy team to every couple of years, and this is another team coming around.
I think Pepperdine.
Pepperdine's
talented enough.
Max Lewis and Houston Millett are both very legit players. We've talked about Max Lewis.
Carter's tough.
Yeah. Javon Porter is tough. Porter, the younger brother of Michael Porter Jr. and Jonte Porter. So it's always good to see. It's always good to see. And then it's hard for me to talk about mid-major performers and not talk about the University of Alabama, Birmingham Blazers. You got my boy Jelly Walker, Jelly fam in the building, the nation's leading scorer. Dropped another 30 piece, and they got Eric Gaines out there. Cam already knows.
Eric Gaines, Eastside legend.
Yeah. Hey, when it comes tournament time, I don't want to be hearing nothing about my Blazers, bro. These guys got it. Bro. Jelly Walker.
The South would love to hear you talk this great about the Blazers. Just
bro,
the entire
Jelly Walker's family, bro. That's my guy. I love everything that he's been doing. I hope he continues to just put up fucking numbers because, for a guy of his stature to be leading the nation in scoring and do it the way that he does it, it's pretty fucking awesome to see. It's like that. It's like that Isaiah Thomas thing. You know what I mean? Where, when the smallest dude on the court is just giving everybody buckets, it's undeniably fun. He's the fastest player probably in college basketball and definitely Probably got the most filthy layup package. I mean, some of the makes that he has where he just spins the ball and like you can watch the spin that he puts on the ball when it's going around the rim. Like it always is dropping in, bro. Just the way it is. It's one of those fine.
Yeah. What is he averaging right now?
He's averaging it's at least over 27. Last time I checked, it was 25. And he put up 30.
Just
So,
preposterous.
Yeah. You want to take over the next little bit, Julian?
Yeah. Next up, we got, obviously, as you all know, we like to talk about our rising stocks. A big one who had probably one of the craziest performances that I've ever heard of in a college game. Zach Edey dropped 30 and 20 last week against Minnesota. He's been doing Zach Edey things, man. He's tall at 7'4", and that's pretty much his calling card. They love to run all sorts of motion stuff to get him as many ISO looks as they can in the post, and it works. I mean, at this point, I think he's draftable. As a late second round pick, kind of like a Boban Marjanovic type of player, worth a look. Next up, Justin Mutz. We talked about him earlier. 27 points to 11 boards. We knew coming into the season he was going to be Vatek's best player. And without Armando Bacot holding it down low, he dominated that UNC team. Did a big win for them. I think he's going to be their best player going forward. And I think if Vatek has a shot to make a run in the tournament, it's going to be behind Justin Mutz. So that's a name that y'all should be looking out for. Next up, I know Trace didn't have his best game against Rutgers, but despite only putting up 13 points against Rutgers, he's had 10 boards and 4 blocks in back-to-back games. He dropped 21 in that win over UNC, where he was undoubtedly the best player on the court. He's a guy who's probably going to be in the Naismith conversation by the end of the year. So I would look out for that. If you're filling out your ballots early, he is definitely a name that's on the short list every day of the week.
You're not getting any arguments from me. You might from Cam though.
Cam, you think he's on the all right? Not talking as an NBA prospect. Do you think he's on the Naismith short list?
You talking about Mutz?
No, Trace.
Oh, Trace Jackson. Oh, how many assists is he averaging?
I don't know.
I got it.
He should be averaging close to a double-double.
2.3. He's averaging 18, 8.6 on 67% shooting.
Yeah, he's dog as shit. I mean,
and he's wait. Let's even get blocks.
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Two blocks a game.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, I would say yeah. Honestly,
Naismith short list. All right.
I think
That
his short list. I mean, bro, if you make a short list right now, it's hard not to put 3 Big Ten big men in there.
It is. I completely agree with
Edey, Hunter Dickinson, and Trace Jackson Davis.
Oh, okay. I was say
Hunter Dickinson's putting up like
Hunter
20
Dickinson's
and 10
been a
right
beast this
now.
year, so
yeah. This is tough. I think it's tough, bro.
Yeah.
I
think he also has NBA draft implications. I think he's got more of a jumper low key than Trace Jackson Davis does.
Yeah, but he's also huge.
He's slimmed down.
He's 7'1", like
no.
250.
I mean like this. I mean in a good way though. I mean in a good way. Compared to Trace Jackson, like he has like actual like plus size for a center, and
yeah,
he actually plays some decent drop. If you watch him play, he plays some decent drop, and that's all you can ask. Like, not everybody's gonna be Mobley. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly.
that's a tough ask, man.
It's a great point.
Good drop gets you a long way. If you look at Zubat and like why he looks so good this year, his drop has got better.
He's a great drop coverage big.
It wasn't like he just turned to like some switch guy. He still can't switch, but his drop just got way better.
That's all that matters.
But yeah,
last couple of guys.
Luka Garza went last year, right?
No, Luka Garza was
Garza
2 years
last
ago.
year. Probably 2 years ago. Who
Um,
won last year?
that was Sheboy.
She won
Yeah,
last
she
year.
won
Wow.
last year.
But
He
yeah,
might-
Garza won 2 years, right?
Yeah, Garza won 2 years ago, and then 3 years ago was. Jeez,
I can't remember. I don't check Naismith
was
that
it
much.
Ant?
It may have
It
been.
wasn't.
That
It
was a
was.
COVID season. No, was it Obi or Ant?
It was Obi. It was Obi.
It may have been Obi.
It was
Ant
Obi
who?
Toppin.
Ant
Edwards.
Hell no, it wasn't fucking Anthony Edwards.
It must have been Obi.
You
It
guys
was
dreaming.
Obi.
Dude, Georgia was terrible.
Georgia
They
was
fucking
Yeah,
terrible.
Georgia was.
he
Georgia's always
shot like
bad.
he shot like 30 from 3. Like 29 from 3. So
All right. You say something about Keontae George, bud?
Yeah, dude. I want to finish up with probably the three most hyped college prospects coming into this season. Obviously, it would not be on the clock if we did not talk about Cam Whitmore at least once on this podcast because he made his debut. Looked pretty good, man. I was watching that game. I thought his first couple of possessions were a bit shaky, but once he settled into the game, he hit his first bucket. He hit a step back. He bullied his way in for a couple of buckets. He looked. You can see why scouts had him as a top 5 pick.
You can see why. You can see why he is. Anytime he steps on the floor so far in his life, he has been the best basketball player on the floor.
I mean, that Nova team is miles away. That Nova team is 2-6 if Cam Whitmore does not play on Sunday. I'll say
very
that.
well, very well. I mean,
Um,
he made an impact on the court, that's for sure, and they felt it. You know, this team was built to play around Cam Whitmore. I strongly believe that. So, hey, let's ride it out. You know, I'm not yawning because I'm bored. I'm yawning because I'm tired. The usual.
Mr.
All right.
Mono over here.
Yeah, Nick Smith. You know, we talked about him a little bit earlier. It's pretty hyped to see some of these guys coming back. You know, that's huge. And you were going to talk about
did you guys see Nick Smith
Yeah.
versus San Jose State?
yeah,
I didn't have a chance to be honest,
it was a dog.
but I heard.
San Jose
Well, how do you
State
look?
has he was very floater dependent.
Really?
Yeah, but because they played a
Yeah.
zone, they played a 1-3-1.
Yeah, but I also like that point. That makes me point to well, he
If you
could be
think-
floated. He could look like that man, but that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying
No,
that does
I-
put some kind of.
So here's the thing that I'll say about it is if you look at the shots that he's getting, every single one, and like if you watch his assists, like everything he's getting is what the defense is giving to him. He's not forcing a thing out there. I thought that was the biggest
he
thing.
beats his man.
Yeah,
he beats his man,
so
that's why.
that's why I'm not really worried about like that he's floater dependent because I think that if there wasn't 3 guys every time he got past the guy that was in front of him, every time he got past them, there's 3 guys waiting at the basket. That was the whole plan behind the zone was to stop, them from getting to the hoop and force them to shoot outside shots. And, they were able to make more outside shots lately. Arkansas has. I think that that's a huge part of it.
I think Nick is closer to 9-10 than he is to 4-5, like a lot of people think.
Damn. Really?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of tall dudes that have ridiculous amounts of handle and vision that score it.
Yeah, I can
I
understand.
mean, would you
that.
take him over Gigi?
I think right now, yeah, I would take him over GG.
What about you, Julian?
Who are we saying take over Gigi?
Nick Smith. You're closer to
Gigi.
you're closer to convincing me to take GG over him than you are to Julian.
I've become don't do that. Don't do that. I'm on the GG train. I'm on the get out of here. I'm on the GG train. After watching him, Caleb knows this. I was watching South Carolina Georgetown over the weekend, and GG Jackson. I was talking about it every chance I got how good I thought he was watching him play in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
not
on
good enough.
board.
Not good enough to have him within the top 10 of your board, though.
Because I think he's a risk.
No, he's really not though. He's 17.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
He
He's
actually
a
could be
project
whatever
player.
you want him to be.
Exactly.
project.
That's why I like him.
He doesn't
can
have
be-
any bad habits though.
If you're defensively, he does.
He's just a ball watcher defensively, but I think that's his only bad habit because that's all he was told to do in high school and before then.
Yeah.
Watch the ball, Gigi.
Bro, he was just
Just
playing
watch the ball.
EYBL like months ago.
He was,
me-
bro.
no,
It's
let me-
crazy. All right.
Let me say this.
Shut up.
Before we I don't get my point in.
No, go ahead.
If
Go ahead.
If I'm a GM and my job is on the line, I'm not taking GG Jackson in the top 10.
Oh yeah,
I'll
of
put it
course
that
you're not, because you're chicken.
If you were
You're not.
drafting
You're
Tim,
not.
you wouldn't take GG.
And when he's better than Giannis Antetokounmpo, what are you gonna do about it?
Well, it's going to take him 5 years to do that.
Look at that, bro. Look at that.
Got
Look
5
at
years.
Kev's face, bro. I was joking, bro.
Oh my god.
Chill.
Whoa, what's
No, but I think
comps get
I
crazy.
think I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is a healthy comp of his upside.
The hell he come.
No, I think the Giannis thing, what you're saying, actually just points to like a certain process, though. Like that 6'10"
It
kind
does.
of ball of clay. Yeah,
He could, bro. If I was his player development
I
coach,
see what you want.
That's why they love Leonard.
if I was his player development coach,
Yo, you heard Julian. Yo, watch your mouth.
So that's why they got Leonard Miller in the draft.
Lenny Miller. All right,
I just saw somebody's board. They had him 25.
Yeah, that's like I said. I'd rather
Blasphemous.
take a trash can with arms and legs. All right. NCAA women's game of the week last week. We had number 3 UConn versus number 7 Notre Dame. Notre Dame got the dub, knocking off the Huskies. Funny enough, they're not the Lady Huskies. I don't know. I feel kind of weird about that, but it is what it is. Notre Dame knocked them off. The Fighting Irish, they're still the Fighting Irish. They're not the Lady Fighting Irish, which I also found interesting. It is like, why are the Lady Volunteers like? Why is Tennessee the Lady Volunteers and like the Dukes like the Lady Blue Devils? But it's the Lady Fighting Irish or anything like that. I don't know. Just seemed like kind of.
Sounds dumb.
It was underwhelming. I felt like it would have been more fun if all the women's teams had Lady in front of it. To be honest, I do. I don't know. I think it sounds fun. Unfortunately, Azzy Flood got injured pretty early in the game. The only takeaway I had from this one, if anybody does pay attention to women's college hoops, Olivia Miles is a hooper. She's a hooper for Notre Dame. I mean, she's a bucket. I saw some crazy finishes out of her in traffic. She can really make plays in transition. What?
I was betting on her last year.
Yeah, she's tough. So we got previewing the next week. We're just gonna run through these, and then we got some predictions as well. Do you want to run through these, Julian? I'll run through the women's side.
My laptop is dead, so it would probably be easy.
Okay, no, I'll do it. I'll do it all. Maryland at Wisconsin tonight. Make sure you're watching that one, guys. Should be a good Big Ten matchup. Speaking of another Big Ten team, taking on the Blue Devils, not the Lady Blue Devils, but the male Blue Devils of Duke. And then we got Illinois versus Texas at Madison Square Garden also tonight. I'm pretty sure that one's already underway, if I'm not mistaken. I think Illinois is winning last time I checked. Rutgers versus Ohio State, another Big Ten matchup. Now, we were really Big Ten heavy here on these previews, huh, Julian?
It's conference.
Iowa State, Iowa. Both those games are on the 8th. Alabama, Houston, Kansas, Missouri. I like that Kansas, Missouri game. I feel like that's going to be a really interesting clash of styles. Arizona, Indiana at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Maryland, Tennessee, Arizona, Creighton. And then for the women's side, we got Iowa State, Iowa. Iowa's really, really good. Maryland, Purdue, Indiana, Penn State, Kansas, Arizona, St. Joe's, Villanova, UConn, Maryland, all this weekend. I believe those are all later this week and this weekend. You know, we got Iowa State, Iowa tomorrow. You know, the battle of the I don't know what is Nebraska. Iowa's the what state
that-
are they?
The Corn State? I don't know, man. They're all
No, that's Nebraska. The
Yeah.
Cornhuskers. All right. So top prospect matchups. You know, obviously we have Terrence Shannon versus Tyrese Hunter tonight, even though they're not really guarding each other. I'd actually say it's more Terrence Shannon versus Dylan Mitchell. We'll see if Dylan Mitchell can hold up.
I
What?
never understood prospect matchups where they didn't play the same role.
Yeah. Neither did I, Julian. We got Alex Fudge versus all of UConn apparently is a notable matchup for prospects. Brandon Miller. I guess you could say Alex Fudge versus Andre Jackson. I'll pull straws, bro. All right, I'll pull out straws here. Andre Jackson's not a real prospect, but and I got
Coleman
Brandon
Hawkins.
Miller.
Definitely don't speak about him if he's not a real prospect.
Brandon Miller versus Jarace Walker. And Tubelis versus Trace Jackson Davis. On the 10th. That's
Sasser versus Jaden Bradley in there.
Yeah, for real, bro. That Alabama-Houston matchup. Apparently Julian doesn't know any player on Alabama besides Brandon Miller, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Noah
Julian,
Clowney,
tighten
Charles
yourself up.
Bediako, Bradley. I just named 3/4 of their starting lineup. Javon
All right.
Quinterly.
Well, I don't think we have time for the preview or predictions this week, so we're gonna wrap
Caleb,
it up there
I
with
have
this
to
blasphemy. With this blasphemy,
I
bro.
have to say,
This has
Caleb.
been a wild one. What up?
Are these games all next week or this week?
Yeah, these are all this next week. So make sure you guys stay tuned. It's been another week in college basketball. We're off the clock.